there we are. What's up, Francis?
Hello.
As I mentioned earlier, I feel a little bit weird tonight. I'm in kind of a weird mood, so I might be somber, I might be loud. We'll see.
I will always see how this is going to play out. We always do this, but tonight I'm excited.
Our guest fucking showed up right on time, ready to go, troubleshot a technical issue, which is awesome.
Can we say, like, okay, I know we say this, and it's been a minute since we've said it. This was a person that I had said early on I wanted to talk to.
I want to say this guy was one of the top 5. I think he was in like one of the first 5 episodes.
Yeah, that we were like, we want to reach out to him. I think we did reach out to him early on, and it's just, careers and wrestling and life, and it just didn't work out, right?
We've been chasing him for a minute.
I'm super excited about him. Like, I'm going to keep a lot of it to when he gets here to kind of like share that, but I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
So as we are with everyone we talk to.
Yeah.
Some people I'm mark out for more than others, but this, I think, gentleman is on that side. I'm a super big fan of his work. I'm so happy. I was just like, one night I was sitting there, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna reach back out to him.
I know when you texted me, because it was like one of those. You and I don't really text past like 11 o'clock because we're both going to sleep for work and shit. But you sent me a text and you're just like, oh, and I fucking
dude, it was like fucking, I think New Year's Eve or something. Or Christmas Eve. I had no business even messaging him, but I was like, I think I might have been drinking, and I was like, I'm gonna fuck, I'm gonna try this.
Those are the ones that always get a hold of us like the quickest and shit. Can I do my thing real quick though?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I gotta do it. To the guest in the green room, I'm gonna get loud for a second, so I don't want to blow your ears out. Just be prepared for it, okay? He's giving me a thumbs up. So, without further ado, welcome to Spooky Dolls Motherfucking Podcast. Motherfucker! There we go. Francis, you back?
Yeah. So I have these Andes cherry fucking things that I'm just eating on over here. Got them for like
good.
30 cents at Target. What up?
All right. Well, can we bring them in?
Of course we can. Fucking 2-time Insane 8 winner. The fucking Wizard King, Orin Veidt.
What's up, guys?
Orin, thanks for fucking hanging out with us tonight, man.
Yeah, hey, thanks for drunkenly reaching back out to me. You hit me at the perfect time.
and that's what, you know what? So a lot of the times I'll say this, I reach out to everyone. I do a lot of the try to contact right? And when some people blow me off or like ignore us or whatever the situation is, I would just like, it either goes one of two ways. It was like, fuck them then. Or it's like, oh, they're too busy for us anyways. I understand. You were on that side of you're too busy for us. I understand. And that last time I was like, I can't give up on my dreams. So, so did it.
And I'm always down to do it. If I just end up missing half the stuff because I never like go into like my message requests or anything. And I saw it pop up because I was probably tweeting and posting about college football or something, and I saw it come through, and I was like, oh shit, I have missed many a message. I should probably respond.
And I try to be, and Dave knows, like, I try to be as persistent within the realm of respect.
Right.
There's a couple people that told us, we said, I will keep bothering you until you tell me to stop bothering you. And they're like, just keep on bothering me until and we're like, fucking full year's worth of pestering them, but I'm not giving up, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Schlack, who responds and say, I didn't forget about you guys. I'm just,
he's like,
I'll just keep messaging me.
No, for real. But that's Slack 1000%.
And it's all good, man. I don't mind I don't mind it, at all. Dude, you said it when you were trying to fuck with that blur thing. What am I looking at in the background right behind you?
That's a Death Note this way.
Yes.
That's a Death Note like banner, and it's the god of death from Death Note, Ryuk. Okay. It's super creepy when I'm like playing games on my stream at night, and like that's the only thing illuminated back there.
Okay.
Behind my head is like all of my Funko Pops and shit.
Oh,
like my whole anime thing.
And that's what I so on my list of stuff that I want to talk to you with our Orin was is obviously wrestling. Wrestling, right? Wrestling is
Yeah, sure.
It's probably going to be
Right.
such a small thing that we're going to talk about, though.
And I want to talk anime and Yu-Gi-Oh! I seen all that.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
don't know nothing about it, so this may not be a great conversation, but I love learning about things, so I definitely want to talk about that.
Oh, be ready.
And just fitness, right? We have this theme apparently going, right? We just talked to Insane Lane.
Yeah.
Hell
you
yeah.
are on that journey as well,
I'm
right?
a big Insane Lane Mark. Love that.
So
guy.
Such a cool dude.
It's the best.
I can't believe how cool he is, man. He was cracking me up, too.
Well,
I've been trying to low-key, I'm not going to do it right now, but I've been trying to do an impression of him because he's got a certain way of talking.
He does. He's got that southern drawl, but a little different. Yeah.
He was like talking about somebody and he was like, well, he was outside and he needed to get paid. And I was fucking dying. I'm fascinated by it. But anyway.
Lane is the fucking man. Back when I still worked for Time Bomb, we had a trip up from the Minneapolis airport all the way up to Fargo. It's about it's like a 4-hour drive. So we've got a 4-hour ride in the car. And this man is like, hell yeah. No, I'll just take a 4-hour ride from the airport. Like a lot of guys would be like, no, you're flying me into Fargo. Fuck that. He's like, hell yeah. And then, by the time we get there, he's in on all of our inside jokes and he's cracking everybody up. And it was great. He's a good human.
You know what? It's crazy because we went into that and I told him there, so this isn't nothing that's new. I didn't know what to expect. And because of the length of time he's put into the ring, right? You talk to a lot of those old school death match guys, and if you can even hold a conversation with them, it's rough, right? So going into it, I was like, I remembered Insane Lane, right? One Way.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, we're gonna get in here. I'm still a fan, and through and through, anyone that takes the time to come on here and chat with us, we try to be as respectful as possible. So I get it, and I'm nervous because I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And we get in there, and 10 minutes in, I was like, this fucking guy is awesome.
Yeah.
And what's the feedback we've gotten, Dave?
Totally positive. Everybody was shocked at, because he doesn't really tend to do stuff like podcasts,
No.
So him hanging out and talking to us and telling us stories was wild, which I'm actually glad because Insane Lane was somebody that I was going to bring up to you. Orin, you were in one of my favorite tournaments. I love tournaments in general, but you were in Double Dutch.
Yes, I was.
Francis was on my case to get IWTV for the longest time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll get it. But at that time, I was watching so much wrestling.
Yeah.
I follow AAA and fucking New Japan and and all the indies and you know what I mean. And I'm a huge Impact guy plus WWE and it was just too fucking much.
Yes. Yes.
And we're going to see deathmatch shows on the weekend, and it's just I had too much, so I stopped watching WWE. I said I'm just going to watch deathmatch stuff. Got IWTV, and I saw the Double Dutch tournament, and my wife and I we were like, we're going to make a night of it. You know what I mean? We're going to get all in. We went and we got 5 guys. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
It's so big, and it was actually Francis. It was my first night that you talked me into getting the fucking Cajun fries. Which how can I ever not get Cajun fries? You know what I mean? But we were all in for the whole tournament, and you were awesome.
That was really fun. I mean, that concept, when it was pitched to me, I was like, yeah, of course. That sounds fantastic. And it's super fun to look back on it too, because there's so many moments in our first round, we were supposed to have 2 spider webs, right?
Oh, okay.
And we only had 1. And Lilith wasn't around when we were figuring out how these spots were going to go.
Oh no.
And I said, oh, well, if we only have the 1 spider web, I'm like, Lilith will take that. Don't even worry. We can just throw Lilith in there.
You just totally offered her.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we come back and she gets back and we're talking over the match and I was like, yeah, and then we'll do the spot. I'll put Ludark through the table and the tubes over here. And I was like, and then over in the spider web, we'll go Lilith. And she's like, wait, what?
I'll
was
do
like,
what
yeah.
now?
I'm like, you're new. This is like, you gotta earn it, kiddo.
Right.
And she was like, you're supposed to be my partner. You're supposed to help. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I figured, that would be your thing. And she always would bring it up like that. It never ended. It was a constant thing.
Francis, I was on your case about watching that. Did you ever end up finishing it? I know you started it. It was Satu and Ludark that you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Francis, you gotta watch it. Come on, it's like everybody you like.
I give Insane Lane the tallest fucking assault driver that's still in the ring that you will see. And every time I see Lane, he always brings it up. He's like, man, you said you could give me that, but I didn't think that you could actually get me up. But brother, you could have walked around with me all day. You had me and you put me down so safe. He's like, I'll take that move any day of the week. And I said, Lane, I'll give it to you any day of the week because you're a fucking gem.
Oh, dude, you're killing me, man. Francis, at that tournament too, you got to see Rebecca Payne, man. She was oozing the thickest blood, like it was like soup, dude.
Man, I want to know how some of these motherfuckers can bleed so good. Like, it's hit or miss for me. Sometimes I get the best color, and other times it's nowhere to be found, no matter how much I get cut.
I was showing my wife pictures, like, because I always show her whenever somebody's coming on the show. I'm like, oh, this is who's coming on the show. And dude, you got some gross back shots. So
it's always the back. I don't know why. It's the back for me gets great color. Every time I try to cut up my chest or anything, that never happens. And like maybe once or twice I'll get good face color, but that's like, that's a surprise.
Can I ask a serious question about something? I don't want to expose anything or anything, but I noticed that there was a point where you started changing the way that you take tubes head on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Dude. So mine,
because you didn't used to do it, and then all of a sudden you started doing it, and now you do it like that. So I was wondering, was there a injury? Hey, cat in the background.
Oh yeah, you'll see cats all this whole time. I've got 4 of them.
Fuck yeah. But I mean, I noticed that. So
for me, and the way I justified it, I was like, motherfucker, if Nick Gage puts his fucking hands up, I can put my fucking hands up.
No, straight the fuck up. Straight the fuck up, man.
So I was, and so many motherfuckers give me shit for that. And I hate it.
Really?
Oh yeah. That is the number one thing I get shit for is they're like, oh, he's a pussy. He's this, he's that. And I was like, okay, how about you come in and do this? Yeah, I see that all the time. And even in the Iron Man match I had with John, I'm putting my arms up for every door shot, and some dumbass fan goes, quit being a fucking pussy and put your hands down and take it like a man. So I was like, okay, fine, asshole. So I did. And of course the brace of the door, the wooden brace that's in this hollow core door is the thing that hits me in the head. And I was like, see, this is why I don't do that shit. And I'm already balding enough. I don't need any help. So, I'm going to protect this at all fucking costs. Okay.
Fans are dicks.
Yeah. And and I get it. I don't give a shit. You can feel whatever way you want to feel. I'm still going to do what I do. But that's one that I always get shit for.
I have never heard that from anybody, just so you know. It's just, I pay attention to little nuances like that. And I noticed you started doing that. And I kind of thought because to this day, I still don't know why Akira started wearing that eye patch. I heard that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I've never been able to get a clear-cut answer out of anybody, and I never saw any injury.
Eye injury, yeah.
But I was wondering if maybe something like that happened to you.
I've obviously had some pretty bad injuries, but never to my head or anything like that. And for me, And if we're using real psychology, right, we're really thinking about how a fight would go down, because a lot of people's thing with wrestling is if you get punched in the face, things would be different. And if it's early in the match and I see a light tube coming, I'm not just going to be like, yeah, motherfucker, hit me in the head with this light tube.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to protect myself. And you'll see it in the match with Declan Grant, where I'm protecting myself. And then as it gets later on, I take 1 or 2 where I don't cover up at all. And he's just able to get clear shots in on me. And I get to the back and a lot of people are like, oh, were you taking unprotected shots? I was like, yeah, it made sense, didn't it? You got to make it mean something.
Francis, I'm sorry, I've been blabbing. I just have one last thing I wanted to add. It has to be about cats and how I was talking about the eye thing. Or the other day, I woke up and it was on my day off, and the night before I was cutting my cat's nails in bed, and I woke up and I got a cat nail in my eye, and I was blinded for like a half hour, just being like,
they're
like
sharp
around
too.
and like. I mean, I know I'm not like getting bashed up, but it was the worst injury that I've gotten this year and last year and the year
pretty
before
hardcore.
that. Yeah. Right? But I'm not wearing no eye patch. Look at that. Anyway.
Yeah, cat stories. We need pillows, and my wife went out to go buy us pillows. She came back with a cat pillow. My wife literally bought a little satin pillow this big for our cat. We still don't have pillows, but my cat has a little satin pillow.
Priorities, bro. Priorities.
Yeah, man.
But Orin, I want to take it back to the beginning, right? That's how we do everybody. What were you a wrestling fan growing up? Was it?
Oh yeah, like so.
What era did you grow up in watching?
Oh, dude, I was the fucking ruthless aggression era, baby. Like I was right after the Attitude Era, like right on the fringe. So
okay,
I was born in born, and so like.
You were born in 94?
Yeah, that's irrelevant.
Fucking asshole.
So born in 94 and about like 7 years old, like 2001-ish is when I start to like find wrestling, right?
Okay.
That's when I really start like a neighbor's babysitting me, puts it on the TV. It's Kurt Angle and somebody else. And I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
And so I'm hooked. And you know, I'm trying every way I can to watch SmackDown because I could only watch one or the other. Like my bedtime was too early. I couldn't stay up and watch Raw. And I could watch like 1 hour of SmackDown because my parents wouldn't let me fucking, they're like, no, you can't watch wrestling. Like, it's not allowed. So I'd watch like 1 hour of SmackDown here and there. Like my generation was Eddie, JBL, Chris Benoit, Shelton Benjamin and like the world's greatest tag team.
They were
like,
so good back then, too, weren't they?
Dude. And I go back and I'll still rewatch the fucking the bull rope match with JBL and Eddie.
It was so good. It's so good, dude.
Classic.
Yeah.
And
amazingly good. JBL was on fire, and JBL and Eddie, dude. Do you remember when like, the vignettes that they were doing that whole time?
Which
JBL going to the border
now.
And, like,
you couldn't do now, but like
just on fire, man.
Dude, it was, and like that to me, I was like, this is great. And I was hooked. And
SmackDown was the better show back then, too.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Like Kendrick in London, you know, like that tag run that they went on.
Yeah.
Like, it was so good. And so I grew up on that. And I like my grandma, I'd go to my grandma's most weekends because it was way more fun. And she didn't give a fuck. She's like, as long as you read books, also like I'll get you whatever wrestling book you want to read. So I was reading like, you know, wrestling stories and stuff. And then she'd buy DVDs and I get to watch wrestling while I was there. So anything that was on the weekends, I get to watch. And then like eventually my parents got over it. And I started watching, you know, TNA and stuff like that. So seeing like AJ Styles and like young Samoa Joe when the fucking alpha male was still like hot, like Monty Brown, that was the best.
That pounce was like, I'm surprised
dude,
more people don't.
I still pop for it. I still pop for it. Anytime I see it, it gets me every time.
His promos were great too back in the day. He'd, you know, like
sweat
up on the mic and shit.
Yeah, and but like that to me was, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, that era sucked. I was like, the fuck it did. That was some of the best shit. And like that was when, you know, there was a lot of really, really good wrestling.
Yeah.
And wrestling was kind of starting to be the focus.
Well, and also Ruthless Aggression was the post wrestling wars. So you had a lot of WCW people and a lot of WWF people intermingling that didn't, I mean,
you never saw
Casey
before.
Keebler and Booker T and Lance Storm was there. And you know what I mean? Like from WCW.
It's wild for me because I never watched WCW. The only WCW I ever watched was, you know, when I lived with like my old wrestling manager and he would put it on. He's like, dude, you got to watch this match. Like, you got to watch. I'm like, dude, this sucks. I'm like, WCW is dog ass. And I just can't get behind most of it. some of it's okay, but I was like, man, this is bad. But I also like I hate fucking Hulk Hogan, and I hate like that generation, like Hogan and Warrior, and like that doesn't do it for me unless your name's fucking Dino Bravo, in which case like you're the greatest wrestler of all goddamn time.
Strongest man alive, right?
Yes. Fucking
Canadian,
like Canada's fucking strongest man, Dino Bravo, like
national
hero. Yeah.
If you go back and you watch Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6, it was a huge match at the time, but it's so fucking slow. They just fucking hold each other in headlocks. You're watching it and you're like, these like, and you back then I was like, man, Hogan is like, I was like 10 and I was like, Hogan's such a fucking old man. Look at this fucking old man. God damn. Like, you know what I mean? And he had like 4 or 5 runs past that. He's like fucking Father Time. You know what I mean?
I in my like my old wrestling manager, we still talk daily. And
who is it? Is it somebody that
Benjamin Stacks? He was a Minnesota guy. He ran like his own company for a little bit, but nothing that like got too big. He got smart and got out early. Meanwhile, I stayed in, and I always blame him because like early on, I was going to leave wrestling and I was done. Like I was done and I was like, fuck this. I'm good.
Really?
And then he's like, hey man, like he was booking for a company in Minnesota. He goes, hey, like I need a favor. And he's like, I need somebody to wrestle. And will you please do it? I know you don't want to. I said, you were the only person that I'll say yes to. I did it. And like the crowd was packed. It was like a high school gymnasium and it was super full. It was some bullshit like fundraiser show, but it was like full. And this crowd was awesome. And I wrestled like my, the guy that I trained with, and he was like my on and off tag partner, and it was great. And I was like, motherfucker, now I'm in. And now I can't run away. So every time I talk to him, I'm like, dude, all of this is your fault. Like all these scars, your fault. This is all on you, brother.
I like how you said it was for some bullshit fundraiser. It's like it's for sick kids or some shit. I don't fucking know.
It was for like the high school football team. Like, so the company I started for
fucking cookies. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's like there's probably butter braids sold somewhere at one of the fucking tables. Like the company I started for, that was like their big thing, was like fundraiser shows. Like he'd get a school to be like, yeah, I'll pay you $10,000 and you can come in and put on a show. Yeah, it was fucking stupid. It's the dumbest shit. Like, not wrestling fans. It was a fundraiser show. It fucking sucked. If I could be candid,
It's all good. It's all good. So, when did you lace the boots up? When did you decide to go to school for wrestling?
Okay, so like
I don't know any of this. I don't know if you're ever on shows and people are asking you this kind of stuff.
Every now and again, like. And sometimes they'll skip this one, so it's
I haven't heard it, so this is new to me.
So I like obviously fall in love with wrestling, and like the thing that makes me love like hardcore and deathmatch is like the typical fucking Born to Be Wired. Sabu slices his bicep, yada yada.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's what I want to do, like a sane human being.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I see that, and I'm young still at this point. I was like, holy fuck, that's incredible.
But that's the thing that's getting you fired up, though.
Sabu slicing his bicep, I was like, I want to do that.
And he's taping it up while he's taking the move and shit. Like, dude, man, that gets me hyped, dude.
No, yeah, that's why I'm like, no, you don't quit when you get hurt. You tape that shit up and you move on. So I go through my life. I'm managing, like, I'm the general manager of a Hardee's. And I'm like, yep, this is my fast food life. I had been a GM of like a couple of McDonald's. I was a young hot shot, I was really fucking successful at fast food real young. And so I'm like, I opened a McDonald's or two, and then I went over and jumped ship to Hardee's. I was doing that, and I had one random fucking 16-year-old go, hey, if you weren't doing this, like, what would you be doing instead? And without even fucking blinking, I said, oh, I'd be a pro wrestler. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's right. I wanted to do that. Because I was so like, I was living on my own, from the time I was 16. So I was so focused on everything else. At this point, I'm 20, and I hear that, and I was like, well, fuck it. so I get home that night and I basically hit up CZW and go, hey, like, this is what I want to do, because death matches, hardcore, of course that's what I want to fucking do. And at that moment, I was like, okay. So I took the trip, go to Blackwater, New Jersey, or Blackwood, one of the two. I go out there, do my tryout, get back, and go, wow, I can't afford to move to fucking New Jersey. Like, I didn't really think that through. And sure as shit, I see in the paper, and my grandma, good old fucking grandma, because like I don't talk to my, I was disowned by my parents, like legally, abandoned as a 16-year-old. So like I was adopted, and then they were like, no, you're not ours anymore. I became a ward of the state, all that. But like my adoptive like grandmother, the one that like was super supportive of wrestling,
yes,
she sees this pop up, like this ad in the newspaper for the AWF, the American Wrestling Federation, classic fucking wrestling name.
Yeah.
And she goes, why don't you hit these guys up? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like that's gonna, be anything for me. Like, and I'm young, I don't know any better. So I email brother, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting with, my now, deceased girlfriend. But we're sitting there on the couch, and the phone rings, and I answer it. Hey, brother, this is Tony DiNucci with the American Wrestling Federation. I saw your email. You seem like a young kid that really wants to be a wrestler. What do you think? And I was like, yes. And I'm watching Raw, so I was like, yeah. And so I sit on the phone with this guy for maybe an hour and a half. He goes, whereabouts are you? And I tell him, he goes, oh, that's pretty close to me. How about Saturday? You meet me at like the Dairy Queen on Highway 10. We'll sign the contract. I'm like, sounds good.
Sounds scary.
Not sketchy at all.
Yeah. Meet me at the Dairy Queen.
And so, brother, I show up to this Dairy Queen, and I am a young, like, go-getter. I'm pumped. I'm wearing, like a button-down shirt. I'm thinking it's like a fucking job interview. And this fucking jacked to the gills. He was like Todd Perry or some bullshit in WCW. He was like a jobber guy.
Okay.
He was, fun fact, he was supposed to be like the original like TNA like tag team champion with it was him and fucking Perry Saturn, but he just bounced and moved back to Minnesota. But
weird. So
I get to this Dairy Queen, and this juiced up fucking like tanned, like he's got burnt skin. He's that tan,
Oh shit.
And he's got the gelled up hair and tattoos, and he shakes my hand, and he's like, you look like you're going to be a really good wrestler. Well, yeah, I hope so. And he goes, yeah, well, here's the contract. He's like, do you have $1,500 down payment? I was like, no, the most I can do is $600. He's like, all right, that'll do. So I write him a check.
You could have told him any number. You
Dude,
know that,
yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah, in hindsight. So I write him a physical check, and I hand him the check, and I sign my fucking training contract. And he goes, okay, I'll here's the address. Here's where we train. We do it, 3 days a week.
Oh, hold on a second.
Is it this guy?
Real quick.
Yes! Yes! That's Tony DiNucci! Woohoo! That's the guy! What? Yes!
I don't know that guy. So this is the guy that signed you your first
yes! Fucking Todd Perry right there.
This is the guy you met at the Dairy Queen?
Yes, that's who I met.
That's insane,
dude.
To me.
And if you could believe it, he was more juiced when I met him. and looking back on it now, he fired me like 7 times, bro. Like, cause I was such a shithead once I like realized I was kind of good at wrestling.
Okay.
But still to this day, he'll spell my name wrong and fucking, he's just one of those guys. But every time I see him, he's like, you know what I like about you? other than the fact that you remind me of like a young Phil Brooks, CM Punk.
Yeah, I heard of him. Right.
Yeah. He's like, you tell me what you don't like about me to my face. You say, hey, you're a piece of shit, and I know that you're telling me you're not talking behind my back. I was like, yeah, Tony, thanks, brother. Thanks for everything.
This is such a weird thought, but like, how girls kind of do that thing now where they're just like, they kind of talk like, this, you know what I'm
the
talking
worst.
about. Well, like that wrestling voice where you're just like, oh yeah, brother. Like, I mean, do you think like it's like an on-off switch, and like,
bro,
Ultimate Warrior got home and he shuts the door, shuts the shades, and he's just like, oh,
you're right.
I'm so tired right now. You know what I mean?
Dude, let me tell you, Tony DiNucci, we're convinced that this motherfucker is just constantly working everybody. I swear to God, he works his wife. He works he is a fucking used car salesman.
For nobody can possibly be like that. Like where
this is Tony.
Zubies, right? The ones with the fucking stripes on.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah, right. And the fanny pack and the fucking nobody can. The perm, motherfuckers got a perm. Like guys getting perms and shit.
At least homeboy wore fucking rock revivals and a tight t-shirt. He involved with the fucking douchebag times. But we're convinced that Tony works himself. That he is he's never not selling you something. He's one of those guys that every time he tells you a story, it's the wildest shit he's ever told, Like you would never believe how great this was. Brother, let me tell you, this '05 Subaru that I sold this guy, he got a hell of the best deal I've ever given everybody. I'm like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. Why are you lying to me? I don't need that right now.
Yeah, I'm not even impressed. I don't even know what that means.
No. This motherfucker goes home and he's that same dude, 1000%. Because his wife is over his bullshit. Every time you see her and she's handing out the paychecks. Oh yeah, she's just mad because she's going home and dealing with that same shit. And he's like, babe, let me tell you, these fundraisers, they're really gonna take off, and this company, it's gonna be something. We're gonna get that TV deal I keep selling all the wrestlers on. That shit don't stop.
Does that kind of guy brother the chick that he's pumping? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think he does. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're loving this, brother. I mean, babe.
Oh, what? Brother is every other word for him. And that's the reason I say it now, is because I was around him for so goddamn long.
You legitimately can brother people now?
Oh, brother.
The first time somebody brothered me, I went and I told Francis about it. I was like, I just got brothered, dude. I can't believe it. This is awesome.
My poor fiance gets it all the time. I'm like, brother, let me tell you. And she's like, oh, she's used to it.
Just stop. No, don't tell me.
She gets it.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, so that was how I started. It was just random. Every town we did, we never went back because Tony was such a shithole businessman that he'd burn the bridge in that town. And the only recurring one we had was the fucking Special Olympics. He always did good by them, thank God.
Yeah,
but so we always had that one. But I'm
not even gonna try and make a joke at that. I don't even
that was the only redeeming thing he did was
good for him,
not burn the bridge with the Special Olympics and steal money from them. I was like, oh, thank God you do have a soul, Tony. But every other town, dude, the amount of small bar owners we'd be sitting with that thought this would really help their bar, get it in. Tony said he'd do all this advertising, never did anything. And this bar owner is sitting there and they see pictures from sold out arenas that happened one time, right? Sold out high schools that is just a sea of 5,000 people. And so they're like, oh, this is awesome. And he does nothing and 5 people show up. And this bar owner's like, I just spent 10 grand and I got nothing. What the fuck? And, and we're stuck holding the bag for him. And we're like,
I just fucking work here, man.
Yeah. And it was every time. That's why he'd always have a new booker, is because they'd be like, I'm done with this. I can't do it. Thanks for asking me to book for you, but I'm not doing your shit anymore.
You guys all show up and act surprised. You're like, no way, brother. No one
Yeah,
showed up.
Holy shit, he did that? Wow, brother.
Yeah, Keys never did that before.
This is never, it's always packed. I don't know what happened, brother.
You're falling into the hustle too, man. Well, okay, so when did you decide that you were going to full on go into the world of deathmatch? Do you consider yourself, I mean, as a side question, do you consider yourself a deathmatch wrestler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like, I'm a professional wrestler, of course, but like, I take great pride in the fact that I'm a deathmatch wrestler. You know,
Awesome.
I think that it's something that, you know, it gets thrown around too much, and it's got such a shitty connotation half the time that, you know, I'm really proud of what I've done in death matches. So I own being a deathmatch wrestler first and foremost. Like the guy that trained me was Tony DiNucci's son-in-law, who is even bigger and even more jacked and had a big ass Ultimate Warrior tattoo. And old Sepio Saunders, you'll never see anything about him because he never fucking did anything. But he knew how to coach, like he knew the fucking basics, and that's what he gave us.
Okay.
And so like he gave me a great foundation. But I remember like we did a spot in a match, and we get to the back, and he's all roid raging out. You know, he's gassed to the gills and couldn't be more angry. He looks at us, he's like, sick and tired of that PWG bullshit you're doing out there. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, that's what it was, but that's not the point. So he tells me, look, you have too much potential as a wrestler to waste your time doing that bullshit deathmatch stuff. Like, don't even fucking think about it. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Not as long as I have any say in it, yada, yada, yada. You know, a couple years go by. I do hardcore shit here and there.
Okay.
And I'm known as like the tough guy. But I'm working a show in Minnesota, and I'm around Cody Rice. Cody Rice has he's got a connection to IWA Mid-South.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, bro, like they need people like tomorrow. And keep in mind, this is a fucking I think it was like a 19-hour drive. He's like, hey, like you wanna go? I was like, let's go right now. I'm in. And so we went, and I worked for him. And then they were like, hey, like we're doing Prince of the Deathmatch. Do you want to do it? I was like, yes, I do. Yes. And like, could I say yes more? And I remember, so Prince of the Deathmatch, I think it was like 2017. Like it was when they brought it back.
Okay.
I remember I was the second match, and I'm hearing light tubes break, and I'm going, oh no, like, oh, what the fuck have I gotten myself into?
Shit,
dude, I'm shitting bricks. Because I know like what we have called and stuff. We've got carpet strips and barbed wire, and we have like tubes for one spot.
Okay.
So I'm hearing these tubes break, and once you hear it in person, right? Like you hear it on TV and it's one thing. You're in person live and you hear it, and it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm hearing it, and I'm hearing the screams, and I'm like, I can't do this. What if I fuck up? Like, what if something goes wrong? Like, this is intense.
Right.
And I go out. It's the most invigorating shit ever. And I was like, I need to do more of this. Yeah. Yes, please. And ICW Milwaukee ends up restarting their deathmatch division because Marcus Crane is around, and he's like, hey, we should start doing death matches again. And I had worked for him a little bit, and then Dysfunction fired me because I kept going super long in my, shitty fucking wrestling matches that I was having. I'd go like fucking 15 minutes over. And
goddamn, really?
Oh, dude, I was a shithead. Still am, but that's irrelevant. I at least stick to my time.
Like a minute or 2 minutes or something.
No, dude.
15 minutes, man.
Dude, it was bad. It was bad.
Wow.
But at least everybody knew, like, it was coming. There. Oh, it's Orin Veidt. He's gonna go over. Great. So I hit him up and I was like, hey man, like, I know that like you haven't been using me and like you don't really want to use me, but like I'd love to come in and do death matches like that. I just did Prince of the Death, yada yada yada. He's like, hell yeah, come in. And I went in and I wrestled Marcus, and the match was awesome. It was like 9 minutes of just that's the first picture I have of like my super, super bloody back. Cause Marcus, being the guy he was like, dude, let's make your back bleed like crazy. And like, let's get a photo and post it. And
so smart, man.
Dude, and I was off to the races. Like that photo alone, they're like, oh, this kid, he
the dude that was all bloody. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
See?
And because Marcus, like, that was the big thing that I, took from Marcus was, like, do everything you can to boost somebody that deserves it, right? To take your status and use it to give somebody else the rub, because you don't need all the fucking glory for yourself. If there's somebody else that needs it, that really needs that break that you see, like, give them that break. And Marcus did it for me, and the rest was history. And I was like, I want to focus on this. And then that's what I've done for the last, however many years it's been now. And yeah, dude, it's been the most enjoyable ride there is.
I almost don't even need to ask you this question, but I'm still going to ask it anyway. You're having fun, right?
Dude,
you look like you're having fun. You sound like
a blast.
It like nothing worse than seeing somebody like that's like grizzled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it bums me out a little bit.
And,
you know what I mean?
Like I go through periods of like loving wrestling and hating wrestling. Like, okay, where there's times when, and there's a saying from Mike Hartenbauer. It's like a go-to saying that he'll use. He's like, when it's good, it's good. And like when you have those nights where everything goes great, like the match with Tommy Vendetta at the Vortex.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Where that building that I had made a legacy in, that match, putting him over in that crowd, like that's that when it's good moment that makes you like, that hooks you up for the next year. You're like, if there's anything that'll keep me going, I'll just remember that one night, when all these shitty nights happen, I've got that one fucking night and I'm just trying to get back there. I'm trying to get back to that fucking night. And then there's times where it's like, man, why the fuck am I doing any of this bullshit? Like why am I doing this? And it's not even like the cuts and like wear and tear on my body. I could give a fuck less about that. But it's just like a lot of it just isn't rewarding,
Yeah.
Like for me, and this is, another candid thing. I have the match with Cole Radrick last year.
Okay.
Yes. So we have this match. This match is unplanned, and I make sure that it's all about him getting over and making, I know he's already like an established person at this point, but he's not an established deathmatch guy. Okay. So that match ends, and my old manager, who always shits on everything, which is good, he hits me up. He's like, dude, that was the perfect fucking match. Oh my fucking God.
And that's what I had that here that I wanted to bring up. It's that, so I've been a fan of yours, like I was saying before we came up. I had seen you in some stuff on IWTV, the Insane 8 stuff. Mm-hmm. It was the Insane 8 2020, your match with Neil, that I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, and then I actually went back and watched a couple of things. I was like, it was a tattoo. I was like, I've seen him somewhere else. Like, this dude is killing this shit. I know he's won this. So many bonkers shit happened in that match. The fucking bottle caps all over the ring. the painted tubes, which I've heard are terrible. I think it was either Neil or Pondo, and they're like, fuck those things. And then the chair spot with Neil.
The assault driver on the upside down chair.
How, Dave?
Yeah, well, Francis, I was actually just gonna say, like, Orin, there are times when Francis will hit me up, and it's always like crazy late at night, and Francis is like, "Yo, you got to check this out," and he'll like send me like a link of like a match or something. Oh, here we go. But you're one of the people that he's here we go.
And dead. Oh. And he just hangs there. He just hangs there in limbo.
Oh
no! Look at that.
Come on.
But Neo's been on the show, super nice guy, and I was like, holy shit, like all this. And then it was like one of those like usual suspect moments when I was like, this guy has been part of so many great fucking memorable moments. And that's when I was like, hyper focused. And then you mentioned the Cole Radrick match, and I have been literally telling Dave, watch this match.
Yep.
Watch this match. It made me a Cole Radrick fan. And I was hyped that because it seemed like it was either you had taken like a break or I had taken a break, but there was a time there where you weren't popping up as much as you were. So when I knew you were coming back, or to me coming back, and you were going to wrestle Cole Radrick, I was like, who the fuck is this Cole guy? Orin's going to murder him. And you guys might have had one of the best matches of the year. Like, it's in the top 5 in my opinion.
But like, and it's just that it is the best matches of the year, right? Not just death matches.
No,
it was like matches because of the psychology and because of how it was put together and the way that it was structured. Like
it was. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
It was one of those things where it was like I had an expectation that was set at a weird level because I was like, I knew what you were capable of. I wasn't 100% familiar with Cole. So it was like, as the match went on, I was like, this is fucking nuts. This is amazing. And I could tell, I was like, he is putting Cole on some sort of map to fucking do it. It happened. And I've been a Cole fan since too. So,
and like for me, you know, whenever I wrestled somebody that had the opportunity to give me a good match, because you can have those grizzled old assholes that say like, nah, fuck this kid. I ain't giving him shit. We're going out there. We're doing my fucking match and that's it. And we're going the fuck home. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Like if I have a chance to have a great match with somebody, I don't care who they are. Like there's some people that I'm like, nah, fuck this guy. I ain't having a good match with you because I know it's not possible. But like, but if it's somebody that like truly wants it, right, and is committed to doing a death match or any type of match, you know, and I done it a lot out here with Rocky Mountain Pro with just general wrestling. I'm like, if you're willing, like if you can hang, I'm going to put together this match that's going to be tough to hang with. And if you can hang, this is going to be great for you. And it's going to make you look like $1 million. And I said, Cole, like, I know you aren't necessarily a deathmatch guy, but like, how hard do you want to go? He's like, I'm all in. And I said, okay, let's put this together and let's go in. And I said, I'm sorry in advance for everything I'm about to put you through, but trust me, it's worth it. And I'm not going to injure you. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in. And that's why, you know, like I am glad I have that, you know, really good wrestling base, is that people can go out there with me and know that like they can trust me with their bodies because I'm not going to injure them. Like I'm going to hurt them, right? But at the end of the day, they're going to be able to go home safe and sound, like no matter what I put them through, and it's going to be worth it. And you know, they're not out there with somebody who's just punching them in the face,
or
beating
like
the shit up for no reason.
Chair, like there's sometimes, Francis, you know, like you showed me that chair shot with that, you know who I'm talking about, right? And this chair shot is so ugly, like it's fucked up. Like I can't even imagine somebody like, and this guy was in the guy who swung the chair was in a position of power, and the guy who. The other guy,
and it's like there's mistakes and there's accidents, like the Reed Bentley chair incident, right?
Yes.
Accident, right?
Yep.
What Dave's referring to can only be described as like a complete hate crime.
Yeah, it's bullshit because like the number one thing is I don't care how much I fucking hate somebody. I'm not gonna go out there and injure them. I'm not gonna go out there and risk their, you know, well-being because I don't like them or because I've got a fucking problem with them. No, like my reputation is on the line as a safe wrestler and as a safe, you know, professional. That's my job, is to go out there and do that. And the reason like the match with Cole went so good is because I remember, you know, He Who Shall Not Be Named and then Eric Ryan like gave me two of the greatest matches of my life because they said, hey, like I like you. I like what you're doing. I like the way you carry yourself. I think that there's a lot of potential in you. And they gave me amazing matches in that fucking Chicago building. And like they gave their reputation, you know, for me to succeed. So I was like, well, why wouldn't I do that for somebody else? Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
I gotta say, I like what you did with the "he should not be named," and I saw the Deathly Hollows on your arm, so very cool. Right? Super dope. As a little side quest, really quick, because we ask people this from time to time, and just it's interesting the answers that we get from it. Is there anything that you don't like to do in a death match? Like anything that you say no to? Like we asked, just for instance, we asked Remington Roar what he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, and he said absolutely no to kendo stick.
Yeah, fuck kendo sticks.
But that was a weird one. We would expect somebody, and the one thing that I keep bringing this up to people because I want somebody to use it because I keep suggesting it. The electric fly swatter.
Ridiculous.
Oh, dude, I've used that so many times.
What was that?
I've used that so many times.
Have you really?
Yes.
I've never seen it. My God,
Yes.
I just want to see it one time. I brought it up to some people, and they've straight up been like, "No way, dude."
Bro,
I brought it up to somebody that we hang out with, and he said, "I'm going to tell you no. I'm not going to do it." You know what I mean? And I'm shocked that he wouldn't do it.
The first Insane 8 I ever did, the first match I was in, fucking homeboy tased my tongue. Like, I was like, hell yeah, sure, that's different. Let's do it.
So the question stands: is there anything that you're like, no?
I won't take chair shots. Like, do not swing a fucking chair at me. Like, that is, and that
there's
was
almost no good way to take it. You know what I mean? You
And
put your head down too much, and and
it's played out, right? Like, if you're slack and you're swinging a chair, getting hit with the chair, sure. Like, fuck yeah, that's all. I will watch that shit all goddamn day because Slack's a fucking animal and it's like fucking awesome. But like, nobody wants to see me swing a fucking chair or like get hit with a chair. It's boring shit. And like Nick, if Nick Mondo was like, I'm giving the rest of my body to this business, I'm not giving my brain. And I'm the same way. Like, I don't need to be hit in the head with a fucking chair. I do like. This is the one thing I have because I'm a pretty intelligent human being and I'd like to not ruin it by taking stupid chair shots.
Smart.
And I don't want to be that guy that somebody's like, oh, too many chair shots, CTE, because like CTE is fucking real.
Yeah.
It sure is. And I've avoided concussions in wrestling other than, I've had like one or two minor ones and one really, really bad one in training where some dude just took liberties and fucking cold-cocked me because he didn't like me.
Wow,
and
really?
Dude, it knocked me clean out. Like, I drove 20 minutes home and didn't remember a thing until I walked in the door and said, I've got a concussion.
Yeah.
And they were like, how'd you get here? I'm like, I don't remember.
That sucks.
And
how long were you down for that? Was it about 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. And
sucks.
And it was like grabbing stuff out of the fridge. I would drop it. And, I was like, I'm not about to risk my brain for something like this. I'm giving you all of my flesh already and like almost my life once. I'm not about to give my brain. So like you can throw a chair at me. You can put me through a chair, whatever, but do not swing a chair at me. That is like a hard no-go, never, ever.
Wow.
And I tell people like, I wrestle Matthew Justice and he goes, yeah, bro, you can hit me. I was like, I'd rather I didn't. Like, I'd rather not because then you would have to hit me back. And, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable swinging a fucking chair at you because I know you're going to want me to swing it hard and then not getting it back like that. I'm not cool with that. And so like, it's just one of those things that like, yeah, you'll never see me take a chair shot.
Francis, we're coming up to a situation right now where we only have a little bit of time left. You know what I mean? And there's still so much shit that like we've only.
Dude, wrestling was supposed to be like 5 minutes. What the fuck, guys?
I know. Well, Orin,
it's us.
Man.
It's us.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
It's us, I guess. And you're a cool dude, man. We just start fucking around and like.
There is something that I've had pulled up here, and we're on the topic of wrestling and safety in wrestling, and I have to ask. And I've been struggling with trying to find the dates for both of these events, but you and Murdoch, Deep South Destroyer off the balcony.
That's 9/11, baby.
Okay. The year, because Murdoch
2020.
Okay. The Austin Ramos incident, was that before or after?
Oh, because
I was trying to. Yeah,
The dude that
I
broke
had a
his
feeling
neck?
that was where you were going with that.
yeah, because you took almost the same spot, and I was trying to figure out did that happen before
So-
you took it or after?
Oh, so that happened after.
Okay.
Because John hit me up and John's like, you've always felt safe with me. And I said, John, like, I went out of a fucking balcony and landed right on my head because I knew
Yeah.
that you were going to take care of me. I knew that, like, and I've taken the destroyer from John, God knows how many times at this point. And I said, because I knew that you would protect me. And dude, when we landed, I felt nothing. I was like, oh, that was it.
I know what accidents happen, but I can only
Yeah.
imagine the guilt and the self-doubt and, you know, like,
And-
well, was I safe
Oh,
enough?
yeah.
Or just,
And I'm a huge Murdoch fan. Like
Yeah,
he's one
me
of the
too.
people that we keep talking back and forth with, and he is going to come on here. And I know like
So
This-
here's my issue with that moment was I was supposed to be in that tournament. And I was supposed to be in John's spot. They ended up getting John instead because they didn't want to pay my price and they didn't want to do blood testing. Because I said, hey, like if I'm gonna do your tournament and I'm in your backyard, like because like it's in where I live, right? I'm like I'm right here. And I said, here's my rate, and everybody needs to be blood tested. And he said, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, everybody needs to be fucking blood tested because like I take this seriously. And like if I don't know the people I'm wrestling and I don't, you know, I can't vouch for them, I'm not about to, you know, risk my livelihood. If I get something from somebody, that ruins my whole career for what? A shitty show that nobody sees? And this guy, the whole point of having John or I in this tournament was to put this kid over, this kid who wasn't trained, you know, like, and it's not like John could have known that, but it's something where, you know, you're pushing a kid into this spot and saying, hey, do this. It'll be huge. Like, look at this clip. Look at all the, you know, press that got. This will be great for you. That kid had no business doing that because he wasn't trained for this. He wasn't trained to be a deathmatch wrestler. He was barely trained to be a wrestler. A really nice human, but like never should have been put in that position. And it sucks for fucking John that he gets stuck with that, you know, that doubt in his head probably forever.
Yeah.
That like, oh fuck, this is my fault when it's not. And like accidents do happen, but as the promoter and the guy running that show, you should never ask somebody that isn't, you know, properly trained to do that. And that's 1000% what it is. It's like, you're our golden boy. This will do it. And when you're in that spot, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I don't want to do it, but yeah. And then that shit happens. And like, now he's fucked for life. And for what? Nothing. It's frustrating. Like, that's the stuff that's frustrating.
Shout out to me for ruining the pace of the show.
Yeah,
Hey.
we're partying, and then you just totally fucking
Because I was struggling with, and it makes sense that I couldn't find a lot of information around it because of everything you kind of mentioned. And I was like, fuck, did he do that after that? Like, I was just wondering.
Well, and not only that, but then it causes John to pull off of multiple matches that like would have given some of my students a lot more, you know, footage and a lot more press and a lot more higher profile stuff, as he was supposed to wrestle Ricky Norin for Time Bomb, you know, like a week later, and sure as shit he pulls off, understandably so. But it's like, man, that sucks for Ricky because Ricky had done all this work and put out great promos and, you know, done all this shit. Right. And now, oh, hey, Ricky, you're going to work just the fill-in guy that we get for you. And like, it sucks because like
everything sucks all the way around. There's just no way to salvage the situation. It sucks.
Yeah. And it, you know, like there was a great fundraiser put on for him, and like the Colorado wrestling community really came out for him. And that was awesome to see. But I think in something called death matches, people forget that you kind of still have to be safe. You know, safety is still a huge priority. And that's why, like, you see people trust me to throw them backwards onto upside down chairs because they know that I'm going to protect them.
Every time I see the chair get set up, I'm like, I'm intensely just staring at the television. I'm like, holy shit.
Bro, the best part
my hands start getting sweaty, man. It makes me nervous, dude.
The best part was he who shall not be named came up with that idea and was like, dude, so like if you do like a throwing suplex, could you do it if like I turn this chair upside down? I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, just put me in the middle. And we did it. And I was like, This is my thing now.
Dave, I have one more. I know. I'm sorry.
No, do it, man.
Talking about death matches, talking about brutality. You were part of one of the most violently bizarre matches I've ever seen. The Million Blocks death match. I
just talked over you. What was it? I'm sorry.
Remember the Lego block death match that I literally tell everybody about?
You showed me this so many times.
I've told literally every guest that will listen about this match. Redacted, me and him, like we might as well have had a watch party. Match together. And you're the first person we got a chance to talk to that was in that.
Dude, that was so like everything about that was a fucking blast. Let me tell you, like it one, all the people in it were awesome. And like the whole lead up to it. And I remember like reaching out to Interspecies when I was young, like working 2 jobs to, pay for wrestling and my apartment. And I was working overnights at a fucking gas station. I sent Interspecies of Wrestling to try to get a booking. And then I looked and I was like, oh fuck, they're closed. And then they end up running this and, they hit me up. They're like, hey, we really want you to be a part of it. And I was like, yes, please.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't say yes fast enough. I was like, oh, yes. And 7 times yes. And dude, if you watch that match, the smiles we have on our faces half the time, dude, Lucky 13 and I are just having a fucking blast.
How can you not love it?
But what we didn't plan for was how you have no stability when the entire ring is a mountain of Legos. Every step you're fucking taking, you're sliding around everywhere. You have no footing on anything. And I was pretty confident I broke my rib on the 450. I was like, I just broke my fucking rib. And I tell Lucky 13, I was like, pin me, please, pin me. And he's like, brother, I thought you said bit me, so I threw you out of the ring. I was like, the fuck? What? Why would I say that? And
that doesn't even make sense, man. Come on.
You knew you were supposed to pin me. And so he's like, oh, sorry, brother. I thought you said bit me, so I just threw you out.
Oh,
and I end up in that match for way longer than I should have been. And I was like, I don't know what to do now. So I was like, Jeff, just pin me. God damn it.
Somebody.
And dude, and what they didn't like realize either was some of the fans that brought some of the Legos had put thumbtacks in them. Ooh. And so I hit this fucking 450, bro. And when I do it, my hands just slide through the thumbtacks. And I'm like, so I'm suffering. But yeah, I would do it a million times over. That was so much fucking fun.
Wow.
That shit rules.
I love that match. I tell everyone that wants to listen, I've sent it to multiple people.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, I've been in a whole bunch of those conversations where you're just like, I have to tell you about this match, and I'm like, oh shit, it's the Legos.
Dude, we were building so many. The sword I had, the fucking sword, bro. That shit was so extra. And the fan was like, hey, if I build this and bring it, will you use it? And I said, yes. Yes, yeah. I will. I will murder somebody with it. And I did.
He did.
I sure did.
He fucking did.
I'm proud of that moment because I went up to her and I said, hey, you cool if I stab you with the sword to eliminate you?
Wait a minute. Do we finally have
Yes. Oh. And see the pullout? Tell me that doesn't fucking rule.
I love Kennedy, man.
So
Kennedy's
good.
Great.
So good.
I love this match. Everything about it.
And when I said it, she was like, yes. Oh my God, yes.
And
it was so much fun, though. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what, like, so since we just stayed on wrestling, fuck it.
Sorry, man.
Like, wrestling has to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, that is the number one priority. Like, I don't care about being on fucking TV. I don't care about how much money I make. I care about having fucking fun. I want to have memories and I want to enjoy what I'm doing.
So we've asked a couple people this before. Impact, WWE for NXT, or let's say AEW, they approach you, they want to give you a contract, the big 6-figure contract. Are you interested, or are you content where you're at right now?
Brother, if somebody's going to pay me a living wage to wrestle, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing. I'll sign that shit.
Well,
like,
go on.
I don't think that's for me. Like, I don't think that, and granted, like, oh, this,
dog,
yes.
I'm sorry, man. Holy shit. Look at that. That's ridiculous.
In the crab suit.
Oh!
And it's, I'm sorry. I interrupt. It was just like, pin me, bit you. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, bip you. I was like, what are you doing, Lucky? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, you can see it. Like, pin me, please. I'm not moving.
All I see is your hands do this. You're like, shit.
I was like, oh my God. So if somebody were to approach me and say, hey, we want you to come and do this, I'd say, sure, hell yeah. But I did an Evolve tryout with William Regal, and it was awesome. Like, it was great, and this was years and years ago.
Okay.
And like, it was after that, I was like, dude, I just want to enjoy the fucking indies. I want to enjoy like memories with my friends. I want to like, I like what I'm doing because I don't have to like worry about saying the wrong thing on the internet, you know, unless like I was a terrible human, which thank God I'm not. But like, you know, I don't, there's so much less stress, and like, and I can have the schedule I want. So, you know, if I'm super busy with my shoot job, I'm like, hey, like, I'm just not going to take wrestling bookings right now. I can't really do that if, you know, I'm working at WWE and it's like, hey, yeah, by the way, now wrestling's a job for you. You can't enjoy it anymore. Like, you're doing it to get paid. Like, and
there would be nothing worse than starting to hate something that you fell in love with. You know what I mean? So
something that like you dreamed of, you know, something that you grew up wanting nothing more than to be. And then all of a sudden it's a chore. Like, that's why I don't do merch a lot, because I don't want it to feel like a job. I don't want it to feel like, well, okay, so I'll take this booking, and if I go and I have to sell 10 t-shirts to make sure that I make this amount of money, and then I can make more t-shirts. And, you know, I see a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
And like, it's a great way to make money, but like, they're so focused on that they're not having enough fun. And like, this shit has to be fucking fun. Like, this, what we're doing to our bodies ain't worth it if it ain't fun.
Well, and plus, though, there is the whole weird thing, like, you know, when you go to those companies, you submit, and they might see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And next thing you know, you might be like, they'll dress you up like a cherub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they're like, no, now you're rodeo Orin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Which, I mean, I would probably fucking nail, but like, but you know, that's the other thing too, is I have full creative control.
Yes.
On the indies. You know, I can be the fucking wizard king cowboy, whatever the fuck I want to be, and irritate the shit out of struggles because I'm something different every time. I can't do that if I'm in WWE. I can't do that if I'm in AEW. I'm kind of stuck with what they want me to be, which is great because, like, hell yeah, you're paying me a living wage and I'm on people's TV screens. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there's the chance
You're
of just
still in love with
losing
wrestling
everything.
right now, though. That's what I'm getting from you.
Kinda.
Oh,
like,
kinda.
Okay. So, like, right now for me, if I never wrestled again, I'd be good.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I've never heard that from anybody. Okay,
I'd be fine. And
you're content with your career as it stands right now. You've hit all the markers that you wanted to hit professionally,
brother.
I mean, like,
so like,
everybody's got a WrestleMania in them, right?
For me, you know, fucking Ian Rotten stole King of the Death from me, but he did put out and say that I would have won it, so I'll fucking count it. I've been in Tournament of Death. I've been to the finals of King of the Death match, which some people can't even say, and they've been in it fucking 17 times.
Right.
You know, like, I've been to Japan on somebody else's fucking dime. I've traveled Mexico on somebody else's dime. I've traveled Canada on somebody, like, I've seen most of the United States and 3 other beautiful fucking countries on somebody else's dime and made like and found family in wrestling, like that I never had before. And so if I never wrestled again, I'd be cool because I know that my career will hold up. I know that, the Insane Eights that I've won and the matches that I've had can stand the test of time and not, I've had a lot of stinkers, but I've done a lot of things that I'm super proud of. And if I never get to add to that resume, I'd be cool with it. And
I really think that your body of work stands up. You know what I mean? And
I hope so.
We don't kiss anybody's ass, but I mean, I love your work. So,
I like I said before you even came on, I'm a huge fan. Every time you show up, I was like, it's gonna be good. As we get to the end of this, that is a good way to cap it off, right? Your accomplishments, right? Everything you've done, the tournaments, and that you just touched the surface, right? NGIs, tournament of survivals,
dude, I wrestled the Big Japan champion, in Tournament of Survival in the fucking Showboat. I wrestled Asami Kadaka, right? And I had no business being in that fucking match.
My God.
And not to mention the fucking NGI I was in too. I had no business wrestling, that amazing Japanese talent. I wrestled fucking Sakuda in LA as the only fucking death match. I had no business doing any of that shit. And
but I mean, somebody thinks that you do. You know what I mean? So
And
to have the respect of your peers is fucking amazing. You're one of the few people who've never heard anything bad about,
which is surprising.
Kind of amazing. I've never heard anything bad about you, at least.
It's because you haven't been around the Minnesota scene enough.
Well, that is true. Okay. Well, now I'm gonna look. So what the fuck, man?
Don't worry, it's not hard.
You just buried yourself, brother.
That's what I'm supposed to do. But the other, I would say my crowning achievement, if it isn't Japan, and the getting the fucking Ribera jacket and everything.
You got a Ribera jacket?
Hell yeah!
I want a Ribera jacket so bad.
Hell yeah! I was one of the few that got it on that tour.
Almost want to see that more than a title.
Oh, dude,
so
I have that.
Would you come on the show again? Would you?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Really? Then I'm going to ask you.
He's got to. We have pop culture. Yeah. He's got to get me on a weight loss regimen because I want to get fucking yoked.
I got you.
Right? Yeah, we didn't get to talk toy collecting or anything like that before.
Dude, literally right before this shit came on, I fucking opened up my 2 brand new Funko Pops.
What is that? Can you go up close with one of those?
Yep.
Is that a Predator?
No, this is dude, it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It's an exclusive that you could only get in another country, and it just became available. And so I was all about it, and it just came in the mail, so I was pretty pumped about that.
Dave and I will occasionally have random non-wrestling episodes. We've had 2. The Orin one has to become.
Dude, we have to do it. I don't know if you guys fuck with sports, but I can also talk about sports forever. So we're pretty good.
Well,
I have all bases unless it's hockey. Don't say you like hockey because I don't.
Do you like? I'd say I don't like sports. Do you like comic books?
Dude, of course I like fucking comic books.
Well,
I have the fucking Sandman Key to Hell tattoo right here.
I couldn't tell what that is. That's so awesome.
Yep, right there. Boom.
Oh man,
I got a comic book collection back there. So yeah, we're gonna have to do another one.
Yeah, we got to do another one. All right.
But my crowning achievement was the Insane 8 2019 when I beat Matt Tremont in the finals. I beat Alex Colon in the first round. I beat Nick Gage in the second round. And I beat Matt Tremont in the fucking finals. That in the fucking legendary La Pica Lounge, where, not to sound fucking arrogant, but I was God there because I endeared myself to that fan base.
Okay.
And so I was doing death matches there monthly, and I was bleeding buckets for them and all that. And they loved me and I loved them. And that moment, and I think it's on fucking IWTV.
It is.
So watch it and listen to Eric Ryan. Eric Ryan goes, I can guarantee you that this isn't doing it justice. He's like, you can't hear yourself think in here, and you couldn't. It was so fucking loud. And Matt and I stood there for almost it was 4 or 5 minutes. We just stood there and they didn't stop. And Matt's like, wait until they stop. Dude, they didn't stop. And finally Matt's like, okay, fuck it. They're chanting for Tremont. They're chanting for me. It just went and went and went. And I became the only person to beat Matt Tremont 3 times.
Wow.
Yep.
That card is
unreal.
Stacked. The cards we can't even get into the fucking the current landscape, right?
Look what you
card,
did to him, man.
A card,
woke Francis.
A card like this cannot happen again currently, right? There's too many promotions, too many people fucking doing shit.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
People bid it and I mean, Marcus Crane, obviously, but Eric Ryan, Marcus Crane, Schlack, Nick Gage, Orin, fucking Tremont, holy shit, all
Tremont.
in one night.
Yeah, dude, that was, I would say, and we've had some pretty amazing deathmatch tournaments, but I would say that's one of the most stacked deathmatch tournaments there has been in the history of American deathmatches.
Yeah, modern deathmatch, I think.
Yeah, dude, and it really holds up. It's amazing from start to finish. And most of these dudes, it's right before the first GCW Japan tour. So they're going hard right before they have to then get on a flight to then get on another flight to Japan. And dude, that one is one of the most memorable ones I ever had. And I almost retired then. I almost hung it up then.
Francis, we got to move to the next segment because we're going to go over, and I don't want to occupy too much of Orin's time. Okay,
do it. I mean,
so
we're doing this again, though. So
yeah, absolutely. Well,
yeah, we're doing this again.
We were talking about having an episode just of toy collecting, and Satu Jen, he collects toys. Yeah. So we were gonna have some people on and have them show their toy collections and shit, and that for me right there is you know what I mean?
All in.
So we have 2 sections that we do with everybody. The first one is we used to refer to it as the Mount Rushmore a death match. But
and then we started talking to international people, and they're like, "We don't understand the reference."
I felt I explained what Mount Rushmore was to somebody from Australia, and I felt stupid doing it because they're like, "Yeah, I know what it is." And I was like, "Oh, the fuck would I know?" Okay, I didn't know you didn't fucking know. All right,
shitty fucking cock.
I don't know anything about your country, so fucking I just didn't think you'd know about mine. So anyway,
spiders, bro.
Well, yeah, then that was the thing. They talked about spiders, and I didn't know that they had spiders. And they're like fucking.
Oh yeah, no, we had a whole spider conversation.
They rule the world.
They're pretty big, dude.
Not the Vixen. She was fine with it.
Yeah. Okay, so the core 4 a death match for you. You know what I mean? Who inspires you? Who do you think their body of work? For a Mount Rushmore type situation, who do you think belongs up there? And not. I want to know who you feel belongs up there, not who the general consensus is.
Okay, so we're gonna put Nick Mondo on there. We're picking 4, right? We're gonna go classic Mount
Only
Rushmore.
4.
Okay,
from whatever era you want.
Okay, so we're gonna go this Earth Mount Rushmore. Got it.
Okay. This Earth, man.
Yeah, I assume I'm comic book reference.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm setting it up.
This is the only Earth that matters.
in this time, yes. So we're gonna go Nick Mondo.
Okay.
I'm gonna say wife beater because you can't put those two together and death matches and wife beater. They just the name, the look, the way he carried himself, eating the fucking chips, dude, that is just the coolest motherfucker. And so there's those two, and then you've got Matt Tremont.
Big time.
I would say Matt Tremont. And then this one's gonna get me heat. Oh, dude, this is a tough one.
No one ever wants to pull the trigger on number 4.
Okay, so in a perfect world, in a perfect Earth, there's 5 because you can put Ryuji Ito in there. But dude, Alex Colon.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Alex Colon is he took what Danny Havoc gave and saw in him, that true hybrid, and really made it like he took it to a whole other level. And that was, I would take out Matt and put in Danny Havoc.
Wow.
That's what I would do, because I know that's the way Matt would want it too.
Really?
So I would.
So the refined list, we got Nick Mondo,
Wife
we
beater.
got Wife Beater, we got Danny Havoc,
and Alex Cologne.
and Alex Cologne.
And
Holy
just 'cause
shit.
we've asked 33 people this, and no one said Ito, I'm putting him down because fuck everybody else.
Yeah, dude, like Ito, dude, what a fucking legend.
I literally,
Let me tell you that taking that fucking frog splash with the tubes in Japan, if I could find one moment to live forever, it's that fucking moment, because it was the coolest shit ever. Like, that old motherfucker got so high in the goddamn air and hits the most perfect frog splash, and you don't feel a fucking thing. You don't feel a thing. He hits me, every tube breaks, and I was waiting for the impact, and it never comes.
Wow.
He is so good. So good. Oh,
I love Ito. When people mention Japan, guys, you get your Kasai's.
Yep.
Yeah,
of course.
but it's like, I was literally just talking to someone yesterday about Ito. They sent me the two bundle photo, and they're like, yo, we got to recreate this. How many tubes do you think that is? And I was looking at the photo, I was like, yo, those are all skinny tubes too. And they're like, no fucking way.
You're like, bro, that's like 2 cases right there. That's why, like, a lot of times when I come out for ICW, I'll have like the bundle of 6 that's off centered, because it's a fucking ode to Ryuji Ito.
Oh man.
So good.
So there's that segment. I hope that nobody's given you that Mount Rushmore yet.
No, fuck,
I hope
not
that's a
even close.
special one. Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah, that was a really fucking awesome one.
Yeah, no one's mentioned Wife Beater either.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
Can you believe
Get the
that?
fuck out of here.
Yeah,
All
no,
those-
I
all of them are
have a
valid.
list here, and
You would be shocked at some of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
The currently it's almost like neck and neck with Foley and Funk are the most mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, but for me, like those, like I guess those were never like the guys for me.
No, I understand. Oh man, if
But I could
only
see it.
Funk. Can you imagine Funk and Foley if they got a hold of tubes back then?
Oh my
God
god!
only knows what we'd even be into right now. You know what I mean?
I think Foley used them like once in the boiler room match or some
Yes,
bullshit.
with
and they
the
were like,
Undertaker.
yeah,
The
and they were
Undertaker
like,
got a
never
staph
again.
infection. The Undertaker got
Yeah.
a staph infection from it.
Yeah, and they were like,
Is
never.
really?
again.
Is that really true?
Yes,
yeah.
it's true. You want to know
Yeah.
the best part about it? It never fucking aired. You see the beginning of it and you see the end of it.
Yeah, you don't even see the light tubes. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
It's
but
one of-
that happened.
It's one of those things where you watch it back, you're like, "There's the tubes," and then it fucking cuts out because gimmick, and then you come back and it's like no tubes, and you just see them like fucking just like
Yeah.
Francis, do you want to do the last segment?
not really, but I don't want this to be over with. But no, so all right, we've asked everyone that's come on, and the answers have been different, insightful. We don't know what to expect, honestly.
Sometimes they're really serious, and sometimes they're flippant. But it's really interesting to see the look in people's eyes when they really start to think about it. So
Okay.
So, you've had about a career that spans about 8-9 years. That's
Yep.
safe to say.
Yep.
If you could go back to the day of your very first match and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
knowing everything that you know now, your current jaded self, you can, you know what I mean?
I would tell me then, that like, I would either say take your body seriously, because I didn't start doing that until like 2 years ago. Or like you aren't as special as you think you are, just so like, because initially I was a hot shot. Like at first I got into wrestling thinking I'd only be a fucking commentator because I wasn't big enough. And then I got into wrestling. I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I can do this. And then once I started getting on matches and stuff, I instantly thought I was fucking God's gift to wrestling. And I was such an arrogant little fuck.
Really?
And and I wish I could go back and tell myself, like, don't, because I made so many of like my friends' lives harder because they're like, hey, he's really not a piece of shit. Like, he's really not this big of an asshole. But just the way I carried myself, whether I knew it or not, like, rubbed everybody the wrong fucking way. And like it made the, you know, first couple years of my career so hard because like I was really, really good for being really young, and there wasn't a lot of young wrestlers in Minnesota. So it like, they're like, well, yeah, of course we're going to use him, but man, if only I wasn't such a little punk.
Wow.
Yeah. Those would be my two.
Unreal, man. You know, just out of curiosity too, did you have like a smarten up moment to yourself, or did you just kind of reflect on how you're behaving, or did somebody pull you aside? And you know what I mean? Because you don't seem like that at all. So just curious, you know what I mean?
I think the moment for me, and okay, there's two moments.
Okay.
So Eric Cannon was super big in like my young development. I have him to thank for a lot of stuff.
Wrestling Society X, Eric Cannon?
Yeah.
Holy
fucking
shit.
Mohawk and baggy pants, Eric Cannon.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh man, you just got me super hype right now, dude.
Like I credit him for teaching me everything, because he did. He like, that man took so much of his fucking time to teach me like how to be a good wrestler, like the nuances and the little stuff. Like I've wrestled him, God, maybe 30 times, and every time I learned something new. Every time it was like, boom, boom, you know, like lights are going on, everything's coming up. He was so gracious with his time because he knew I listened, and he knew that I took what he said into account and like actually did it. He's the reason my name's Orin Veidt and not fucking Boone, because he said, get out of here with that bullshit. But
Holy
Aria,
shit, seriously?
yeah. So that we'll talk about that on the fucking other one. But
Francis, put it in the notes, man.
But that's why I have such a good right hand, because of fucking Eric Cannon, bro.
You know, sorry to be like this, but man, his feud with the Cartel and Wrestling Society X, that was like one of the things that I was living for back then.
So
dude.
good, so
Loved it,
fucking
man.
good.
I know it's totally off topic, but
no,
yeah,
but it's not.
really appreciate his work. Sorry.
Yes, and Arya Davari was another dude that took his time when I was green as shit, brand new.
Really?
And because he was from that area. And Arya, after like, he made me wrestle as a babyface, and I was always a heel. He made me wrestle as a babyface and like forced me into this like main event match with him. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And I tried to do too much. And afterwards, you know, he's talking to me, and he's like, I know that you can do all these things, but you need to learn to walk before you run. And it was that little fucking moment of him after the show pulling me aside and saying that I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. So slow down. I don't need to do a million things. I don't need to be the greatest wrestler. I need to do the basics. I need to do this. And he's like, that's why I can do what I do. So that was moment number one. And then like moment number two was like the death of my ex, because that happened, and that really like that changed so much of my life.
I can only imagine.
And it like just the way I treated everything, and the way that I took wrestling as like a gift and not some chore. Like it really changed everything. That's why I wear the arm sleeve and all that. Like it just, I went through a super dark episode, and still will, but that was one of the things that really made me change my perspective on wrestling, and made me take it, I guess, a little bit more seriously. And was like, hey, like I have to be successful now. I have to do this because like that's what they would have wanted. Right. And that's like all the support and everything. And I'm super blessed now to have an amazing fiance that is so beyond supportive, when a lot of people don't get that in wrestling. And it's just one of those things that you take that for granted sometimes. And it's moments like that realize you can't take this for granted. You can't take support for granted. You can't take the people that have your back for granted. And that really changed the way I looked at wrestling.
Man, Francis, I know you can say the same thing. I didn't know what I expected when we asked you to come on the show, but man, you're such a cool, down to earth guy.
And I can't think of a better way to kind of like cap this off.
Yeah,
right?
what a cool guy.
Part 2 is gonna come. You know, Orin help me drop 50 pounds? Will he school me on anime?
Dude, I got you.
Will Dave and Orin get into a comic book argument?
Oh,
Tune in next time.
I'm sure at some point, yeah.
Okay, I'll only do part 2 if you name it Electric Boogaloo, because I was gonna put a tweet out today that like if you ever do a part 2, it's got to be named Electric Boogaloo. It's
done.
Okay.
Done.
Done.
I will do the whole graphic up. It'll be so fresh, dude. I'll put the music behind it. It's a done fucking deal.
Then I'm in. Hell yeah.
I cannot wait. Oh my god.
Look out for the email. It's just going to have subject line Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Hell yeah. That's what I'm here for.
And that's really it for the show. But just hang tight for one
Where
second,
can anyone
Yes.
find
Oh
you?
my God, yeah,
Francis,
Francis,
Dave's just quick to like get
I'm
the
sorry,
Electric
man.
Boogaloo
Look,
graphic
man.
going.
Oh, dude, I am too now. So you can find me on all social media at Orin Veidt. I don't post a lot about wrestling. It's about my hot takes on sports on my Twitter. So if you go to Twitter, that's what you're gonna get. If you go to TikTok, it's still at Orin Veidt. You're going to get workout videos. You're going to get cat videos. You're going to get Yu-Gi-Oh videos. You get a little bit of everything.
Not
a lot of
all
wrestling.
the good stuff.
And then, Instagram, everything. It's at Orin Veidt. So that's where you find me. And then Twitch, it's Orin Veidt 18 because I had taken the Orin Veidt name and then I forgot my fucking password. And it's too late now. I can't go back.
Yeah.
Terrible.
No OnlyFans, Orin?
No, I probably
Skip that
should.
one.
I probably should. Yeah, I probably make a lot more money in wrestling.
But Orin, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for responding to my drunken New Year's Eve fucking message.
I need to respond to more drunken messages. This has been awesome.
Yeah, man.
No, this has been a
I
lot.
have no
of
idea
fun.
what's in the inbox.
Yeah, this has been a blast, guys. Seriously, thank you for having me on. Like, I will do this any day of the week. This was great. I've done a lot of bad podcasts. This is not one of them.
Oh, look, yeah. All right, so
you.
Orin, just hang tight for one second, okay?
We'll do.
All right, so that's it. Spooky Dust Podcast. We out, right? Boom.